University of Oklahoma. And after successfully missing all opportunities for the military to pay for his education, he decided to join the Air Force for a 4-year tour. And things did not go according to his plan. Lieutenant Colonel Easter entered active duty United States Air Force service 19 May 1992 as a second lieutenant. He completed officer training at Maxwell Air Force Base, Alabama, followed by Bioenvironmental Engineering School at Brooks Air Force Base. His first duty assignment was at Scott Air Force Base, where he was the Deputy Flight Chief of Bioenvironmental Engineering. During this time, he was deployed locally to assist during flooding in St. Louis. After he served as the Flight Chief for Bioenvironmental Engineering, in 1997, he was assigned to Tinker Air Force Base, Oklahoma, serving as the Bioenvironmental Readiness Officer and the Industrial Hygienist. Soon after this assignment, his son, Marshall, was born. In 2000, he settled into a quiet life in rural Kansas, where his wife built an optometry practice, and he finally finished his master's degree in environmental science. Soon after, Thomas was born. These new life events were deemed incapable with the consistent upheaval that active duty members provided. So he transitioned to the Air National Guard, joining the 138th Fighter Wing, serving as the Flight Chief for Bioenvironmental Engineering. In 2005, Lindy was born, and later that year, he, along with most of the 138th Medical Group, were called on by Joint Force Task Force Katrina to provide humanitarian and medical support after the devastation of Hurricane Katrina. True to form, the Oklahoma National Guard was the first unit to be mobilized and the first unit to arrive at Ground Zero. In 2007, he was deployed as part of Operation Cherokee Angel, a humanitarian medical mission, and their very first partnership with the military of the former Soviet Republic, Azerbaijan. Soon after, Lieutenant Colonel Easter thought about retiring in 2012 after 20 years of service. But the 138th Medical Group was going to Hawaii that summer, and he didn't want to miss it. After successfully completing the mission in Hawaii, he was called upon again for a mission with the Azeri Military of Defense. He returned to Azerbaijan in 2013 with a super squad of 138th military members to perform joint anti-terrorism training with Azeri military members. At this point, Lieutenant Colonel Easter misplaced his retirement application. In 2019, years after he should have retired, Lieutenant Colonel Easter was temporarily assigned to the 138th Civil Engineering Squadron to help backfill for deployed CE officers, where he pushed forward engineering projects and contracts. In 2020, long after he should have retired, he was deployed to IUD, Qatar, in support of Operation Freedom Sentinel, again serving as a Bioenvironmental Engineering Flight Chief, where he led a 7-member team responsible for the occupational health and safety of 9,000 Joint Force personnel in the AOR. In 2021, long after he should have retired the third time, he was called upon and enthusiastically served on the Oklahoma COVID Joint Task Force. As an engineer, he was the obvious choice to lead a mobile vaccination team. After selling his very small engineering firm, Lieutenant Colonel Easter was looking around for a different civilian job. At this point, he really should have retired. So in 2022, as you might expect, he went back to active duty to serve at National Guard Bureau as an Environmental Restoration Program Manager at Andrews Air Force Base. After almost 4 years at National Guard Bureau, Lieutenant Colonel Easter returned to the 138th Medical Group and found his retirement paperwork. It was about time. Lieutenant Colonel Easter's long career reflects excellence and service to others. His leadership has strengthened the readiness of the 138th Fighter Wing to ensure airmen were kept safe and cared for when it mattered most. Along the way, he has mentored a generation of leaders that have served the country and will continue to lead into the future. At this time, Colonel Griffin will make a few comments.
Thank you all. See some friendly faces and family. Thank you for the service and everything else. We've done it. I've known you for a long time. So today we're here to honor the service of Lieutenant Colonel Markham. Just as importantly, the service of your family. No one completes more than 4 years of service in uniform without a strong foundation behind it. So Sandra and Lindy. I had all the kids' names here, but only Lindy showed up, so. There's simply no way to count the number of family events, sporting events, or milestones that sacrificed so he could serve. Your support made his service possible. For that, I thank you, we thank you, and the state of Oklahoma thanks you. When I first met Mark, he was my very first supervisor, believe it or not, as the senior biomedical science officer here in the 138th Medic Group. But over time, that professional relationship grew into a long-standing, meaningful friendship. For those who know him, he is a true engineer at heart, and he'll sit down with you for what seems to be like a simple discussion, and but it always turns out to be either a mentoring moment, one shaped by years of experience and a different lens through which to see a challenge. So he is also the first to raise his hand when needed, as you can tell through his bio. Medical doesn't always get many opportunities, but every time one presented itself, he stepped forward. I've watched him mentor airmen for years, each in their own way, and his impact will be felt long into the future as those he guided continue to grow and become the leaders of tomorrow. As I close, anyone who knows Mark knows the respect, love, and admiration he has for his wife, Sam, and how lucky he is that she's put up with him all these years. He always tells us he outkicked his coverage, so know that he's always shared that with us for many years. Susan, now that he doesn't have drill weekends, you're going to have him every weekend. We talked a little bit about this last night, so hopefully you can keep him busy. He likes to open and close businesses, so he's got plenty of time for that now. Once again, thank you. I thank your family and friends for being here, for the sacrifices you've made over so many years. Enjoy your retirement and those well-earned pensions. You've earned every minute and every dime of it. And don't forget your family here at the 138. Strength and honor.
Thank you, Colonel Griffin. Colonel Easter's over. He's ready to go. Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the reading of the citation to accompany the award of meritorious service. Attention to order. All who shall see these president's greetings. This is to certify that the President of the United States of America, authorized by Executive Order 16 January 1969, has awarded the Meritorious Service Medal, 3rd Oak Leaf Cluster, to Lieutenant Colonel Neely M. Easter for meritorious service 15 April 2022 to 31 March 2026. Lieutenant Colonel Neely Easter distinguished himself by exceptional meritorious service as the Environmental Restoration Program Manager, National Guard Bureau, Joint Base Andrews, from 14 April 2022 to 30 September 2025. During this period, Colonel Easter expertly managed 5 multi-million-dollar contracts and led 15 contractors in closing 14 contaminated sites, eliminating hazards and restoring land for future use. He secured a groundbreaking $3.5 million nationwide outreach contract and modernized the Air Guard's Enterprise Monitoring Well Tracking System through advanced GIS integration, specifically improving environmental decision-making across all 54 states and territories. He also served as the primary liaison for 7 state environmental agencies, multiple tribal governments, and 15 A&G bases, fostering unprecedented calibration and accelerating complex regulatory actions. The distinctively accomplishments of Lieutenant Colonel Easter reflect great credit upon himself, the Air National Guard, and the 138th Fighter Wing, and the United States Air Force. Given under my hand, 23 March 2026, Robert C. Griffin, Colonel, United States Air Force. Post. Publishing of the retirement order.
Publishing order.
Attention to orders. Department of the Air Force, Special Order EL-001640, dated 12 January 2026. Lieutenant Colonel Neely Easter is relieved from current assignment at the 138th Fighter Wing, Oklahoma Air National Guard. and honorably discharged from the Oklahoma Air National Guard and assigned to the retired reserve effective 31 March 2026 by the order of the Secretary of the Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Colonel Griffin will now present the Certificate of Appreciation and Retirement Certificate. The Certificate of Appreciation for Service in the Armed Forces of the United States of America. Lieutenant Colonel Neely Easter, I extend to you my personal thanks and the sincere appreciation of our grateful nation for your contributions of honorable service to our country. You have helped maintain the security of the nation during a critical time in its history with devotion to duty and a spirit of sacrifice in keeping with the proud traditions of the military service. Your commitment and dedication have been an inspiration for those who will follow in your footsteps, and for all Americans who join me today in saluting you for a job extremely well done. My best wishes to you for happiness and success in the future. Donald J. Trump, Commander-in-Chief. Now for the Certificate of Retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. To all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that Lieutenant Colonel Neely Easter, having served faithfully and honorably, was retired from the United States Air Force on the 31st day of March of the year 2026. Signed, Kenneth S. Wilsbach, General, Chief of Staff, United States Air Force, and Duke A. Pyrat, Major General, Acting Director, Air National Guard, United States Air Force. Dr. Easter, please come forward to receive your spouse certificate of appreciation.
Yes. You earned it.
Certificate of Appreciation for the United States Air Force. In grateful appreciation, the United States Air Force presents this certificate of recognition to Dr. Sandra Easter for the commitment and numerous contributions that made positive impact on the nation's defense. Thank you for the support which gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service. Given this day, 12 of April, 2026. Lindy, would you please come forward to receive your child's certificate of appreciation?
I should say the best child, because you're the one that showed up tonight.
In grateful appreciation, the United States Air Force presents this certificate of recognition to Lindy. During the years of your life, you have made sacrifices and quietly shouldered the heavy burden that you were never asked to carry. You were then, as now, one of the most important parts of your father's life and career. It was your love and support that enabled him to continue to do his job. Despite the missed holidays and special occasions throughout the years, your resilience and self-confidence gave him strength through difficult times. We thank you for your continued love and support of your father throughout his career. You have served your country as much as he has, and your sacrifices will always be remembered. Given this 12th day of April, 2026.
We've heard nothing but good things about you.
Okay, now Colonel Griffin will present Lieutenant Colonel Easter with a gift from the unit.
Bet you didn't know you were getting one of these. Just on behalf of us, thank you for the years of service. Thank you for all the mentorship and everything that you've done all these years. Hopefully when you look at this, and I don't know where you put it in the house, so hopefully you got a wall for it, but when you look at it, remember us, and don't forget us over the years.
Now Master Sergeant Don Rickey will present Lieutenant Colonel Easter a gift from Bioenvironmental Engineering.
Sir, on behalf of the B-Shop, thank you for your mentorship.
Thanks. and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce to you my old boss and my friend, Lieutenant Colonel Neely, United States Air Force, retired.
I'm supposed to say a few words, and most of you know that I don't really care to do that, especially in front of people. I don't know if I'm all right. But I've prepared 7 or 8 pages here, so we'll get through it really quick. I've heard a lot lately, especially from my family. They've told me how proud they are. Others have asked me, do I feel proud? Maybe you should feel proud. Are you sad? Well, I ask myself the question, what comes to mind is gratitude. Deep, genuine gratitude for all the people that have in this room. And pride, well, pride really isn't a word. I'm proud of having the privilege to serve all of you. My parents, Blue and Jimmy, they gave me the foundation and the ethic to serve. I'm truly grateful for that. Everything started there. The people I see here, when I started with Paul Warner, he brought me in to this unit 26 years ago and found me this job. Thanks for being here. Kenny Brown, yeah, I can see you friends here. You found me the job. Found me a full-time job. And there's not a month that goes by that he hasn't had to help me with something. He's always Sergeant Dummery, the same story. Always there, always serving. A couple people aren't here. Colonel Fry, he doesn't know it. He saved my career. He was someone needed at that point. Colonel Debbie Owens, the same way. She was at a helped me at a point to save my career. I know I wouldn't be here without those two. Colonel Griffin, you made me look good. The preventive medicine team looked so good. You were awesome doing that. Pushed me, encouraged me to get promoted. That didn't really work out, did it? I'm okay with that. Evan, I see Evan Hathaway. You helped my business. You helped my marriage. My finances too. You should be listening to when your finances really should. But I'm truly thankful for what you did to help my marriage. Chief Looper, Lieutenant Colonel Allard, Dr. Durst, same thing. You were there. I didn't think I needed help. But I did. My brother, my sisters, Phil, Kristen, and Kathy too. Your support isn't something that I've had. It's something I have right now, and it's totally immeasurable. Jason White, thanks for coming over. I know for sure he did save my business because of what he did for me, and I know for a fact that he saved my marriage. Thank you. And speaking of marriage, my wonderful wife, Sandra. So she was there when I raised my hand 34 years ago, and she's been there every day since. She's here now. And I said everyone in between. Someone asked her last night if she was looking forward to me not having to go to drill, and I was a little surprised by the answer because she said yes. Why was I surprised with that? It's because not once, not even once, have I heard anything but full support from her for what we all do. She never complained about me not being there, never asked me not to go, never mentioned about how much work it is for the kids when I'm gone. She never made it about her. She's been 100% on Team Air Force. The truth is, she had the harder job. Most of us in uniform know that. She had the harder job to get home than I did. I mean, at least when we go someplace, they feed us, right? She didn't have that. She was the only one holding everything together, raising the kids, running the house, and doing it all. Sandra, I can't thank you enough. You've always been a team. Our team. So to my kids, Marshall, Thomas, and Lindy, you didn't sign up for this. You didn't ask for it. And you don't deserve it. I wasn't always there. I wasn't always present. No one was there. I missed parts of childhood. And it's not fair. But you guys serve too. Thank you. You guys all showed strength and resilience and independence. I'm proud of you. Grateful for the sacrifices you made. I know I'm missing people for that. I can't possibly list all the people that it took to get me to this point. I'm grateful for all of you. So pride, with pride. I'm proud of the work we've done for Mid Medicine. We have saved people's sight and hearing and kept them from getting sick. I'm really proud of what we've done for the people that wear the uniform and for putting forward that human clearance system and keeping them safe. But other than that, no, pride. Pride's not the right word. It's gratitude. It's better here. Deep sense of gratitude. All of you done. For me, for us, and for this country. So, people who stood beside me, with me, with us, people who came before and made this possible. That's where the service is, and that's where the sacrifice is. And that's where all the thanks go. Thank you for your service. Supposedly practice.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Easter. The men and women of the United States Air Force are proud to have served with you. Your knowledge, wisdom, dedication, and friendship will be sorely missed by all. We wish you well as you begin this new chapter in your life. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the departure of the official.